the Scott Addict HMX of Sylvain Chavanel of I Am Cycling. Now, last year when this frame was launched, it was considered the lightest production bike in the world. Now, that's since been superseded by the new Trek Imonda, plus a few other disputed claims. But what it means is that Sylvain Chavanel has to be quite careful with the kit that he runs in order for this bike to be heavy enough to be allowed to ride the Tour de France. So we'll notice interesting things like his aluminium handlebars, aluminium stem, both from Ritchey. The bars, I think, are 42 centimetres wide and the stem's 120 mil long. He does run a carbon seat post for lightness, but he's also got quite a hefty saddle there, that Pro logo scratch too. Now elsewhere, we'll notice that he's got the SRM Power Meter. His entire team run SRM Power Meters, and that's going to be quite useful for meeting the weight restriction. One thing that we do notice, because the team rides SRMs and they don't have Garmin's or anything GPS related, he's got to have a really retro looking speed sensor on his front wheel, which we don't really see many of these days. Now he's running Dura-Ace DI2 throughout. He's got a fairly standard setup, but interestingly an 11 to 25 cassette, so he's not running a 27 at the back, which is quite old school really. Now the other slightly old school thing about Chavanel's bike is that he's still running 23mm wide tubs from Schwalbe. Now, tubs are mounted on DTSwiss RC55T rims. He'll obviously change these depending on the course, but he spent most of the first week of the Tour de France running the deeps, but I suspect he'll swap them out for lightweight ones during the mountains and then potentially have to add weight to the bike in order to help it meet that minimum weight requirement. Okay, now when looking closely at this bike, another thing that I thought was quite interesting is that although it's a 56, so you can see it's quite large, Chavanel himself is 5'11" or 1m81, he's actually only running 172.5mm cranks, which I think is on the shorter side for someone of his size, but clearly I'm not going to say that to his face because he's doing quite well. Now, finally, we've got to talk about this colour scheme. It's something of a trademark now for Chavanel after his specialised team bike from a year ago was sprayed up in a similar colour scheme. Now, allegedly it's got something to do with his choice of car at home. I think it's seriously cool and he stands out a mile in the peloton.
For more GCN Top 10s, click here.
And if you haven't yet subscribed, simply click on Matt. You know it makes sense.